I've spent 2 decades working in the dirt. Whether you are blasting hard rock or pulling gravel out of a pit, mining is a battle of survival against the unpredictable forces of the earth itself. That is why we have the Mine Safety and Health Administration, or MSHA. Their entire mission is to prevent death, illness, and injury for anyone working in a U.S. mine. This diagram shows a clear split between two different worlds of workplace safety. On the left, we have the extraction of raw earth, pulling the minerals out of the ground. That is MSHA's territory. On the right, we have downstream manufacturing and construction, where those materials are turned into products or buildings. That falls under OSHA. We need a dedicated agency for mining because the ground we walk on is not a static, stable construction site. The earth is constantly shifting, settling, and reacting to our equipment. Before modern federal intervention stepped in, working underground came with a grim, accepted level of danger. This line graph tracks annual U.S. mining fatalities, showing a steep drop. In 1978, right after the Modern Mine Act took effect, 242 miners lost their lives on the job. By 2025, that number had fallen to 28. The modern MSHA rulebook is long and highly detailed. Every regulation in it exists because an accident happened, someone was hurt, and engineers had to figure out a direct countermeasure to prevent it from happening again. Every page of the MSHA rulebook contains a hard-learned survival lesson, written in response to the tragedies that came before it. Let's start with underground mining. It is a tightly confined, claustrophobic environment, where the ceiling is literally millions of tons of solid rock resting right above your hard hat. The earth naturally wants to close that empty space back up. To survive, we use what's called ground control, a system of heavy engineered roof and rib supports that act like internal scaffolding to hold the crushing weight of the earth at bay. Because an underground mine has no natural breeze, massive fans actively push clean, breathable air deep into the tunnels, while simultaneously pulling out stale, contaminated air. It functions like giant mechanical lungs. If those mechanical lungs stop pumping, or if the airflow misses a section of the tunnel, invisible toxic gases will quietly pool in the dead zones. It's a silent hazard that can overwhelm a crew without warning. Surviving underground means continuously fighting back against the Earth's natural pressure and its atmosphere using active, engineered systems. Surface mining is an entirely different world. The operations are massive, sunlit, and wide open. Out here, the #1 cause of fatal accidents is something called powered haulage. That is the industry term for the heavy, mobile equipment used to move the rock from one place to another. This illustrates the hazard zones around a standard 400-ton haul truck. Because the driver sits nearly 2 stories in the air, the blind spots are enormous. A worker standing 50 feet in front of the grill might be completely invisible to the operator. To neutralize this threat, MSHA mandates highly structured traffic management plans. They enforce strict rules on who has the right of way, require mandatory seatbelt use at all times, and demand physical guards to keep human beings separated from the moving parts. In the open air of a surface mine, the greatest threat to your life isn't the rock, it's the industrial machinery moving around you. Safety also extends to the invisible threats, like the long-term respiratory damage caused by breathing in airborne rock dust. The new 2024 Silica rule lowers the legal limit for breathable silica dust to 50 micrograms per cubic meter of air. To put that in perspective, that is roughly the equivalent of a single grain of fine sand dispersed across a space the size of a standard kitchen table. To enforce these rules, MSHA inspectors show up completely unannounced. By law, they conduct comprehensive inspections 4 times a year at every underground mine, and twice a year at every surface operation. They also require every miner to undergo rigorous, site-specific hazard training. Depending on your operation, you fall under either Part 46 or Part 48 training frameworks. This ensures you know exactly what dangers exist on your specific patch of dirt. True mining safety relies on 3 pillars holding each other up: engineered health controls, strict unannounced enforcement, and continuous education. There is a common misconception that MSHA only targets massive corporate operations, or that their hazard plans are just useless paperwork designed to slow down production. The reality is that these regulations apply to every single extraction site in the United States. A 3-person local gravel pit is held to safety standards just like a massive corporate gold operation. The MSHA framework establishes specific, protected legal rights for every individual miner on the site. Under federal law, you have the right to identify a hazard, speak up, and refuse to perform a task if you believe it is unsafe. And you have the right to do that without any fear of being fired or retaliated against. Mastering these regulations is the most effective way to protect yourself and your crew, ensuring that everyone makes it home at the end of the day. Make sure you subscribe to the HSEstudy YouTube channel for more occupational health and safety content. Until next time, watch your surroundings and stay safe on your next shift.